Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome. As I make a lot of noise grabbing my tambourine. We are going to begin tonight where we typically begin on page 1 with Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho.
Shabbat Shalom. It's good to be back. I don't know if I can be heard, but can I be heard? Yeah? Okay, good. It's good to be back. I missed you last time, but I was meditating, sitting in silence, and it was a beautiful way to spend Shabbat as well. Bruchim habayim, welcome to all of you. We have a very, very dangerous Shabbat tonight.
I got it. Almost dangerous.
There is a principle in meditation. I'm serious. My teacher always uses that. You know, when you're sitting in meditation and you, at the beginning, you know, you follow the instructions from the teacher, and the first 2 or 3 minutes you're right on. You're following your breath. You're deep into the meditation, and then that thought comes around. And then you're gone. And you're following that thought about where you parked your car, or where is your next meeting, and what happened during, right? And then you just wake up again and say, oh, I'm supposed to watch the breath. I'm supposed to be meditating. And so you snap out of the trance of the mesmerizing thought. And my teacher simply says, when that happens, just start again. Start again. And that's the mantra, right? Start again. Anytime you get lost, you don't beat yourself up. You don't tell yourself that you're the worst meditator that ever lived, that you'll never be able to meditate, that you're the worst. I mean, that's just more thoughts, right? No, just kindly, compassionately toward yourself, back on the breath, and you start again. Just start again. And I think that works in so many other aspects of our life. Like right now, we start again. And tonight we have a very special Shabbat. I know I say that every Shabbat we're together, but tonight is our Shabbat that is dedicated to supporting. I don't know if it's supporting, it is supporting, but it is really for us to keep up front in our mind, in our consciousness, the ongoing devastating immigration issues that we are facing here in this country, not just in this country, but let's start with us. Once a year, because we are partnered with HIAS, the Hebrew organization that supports and is of service to all people immigrating to the United States. It started just as a Jewish organization to help Jews relocate here as they fled famine, poverty, violence, just like immigrants do today. And it's inviting us now to take our place, to take our turn, to be of service, to welcome those who are fleeing war, violence, poverty, hunger, and are trying to make a better life for themselves and their families. So this is the Shabbat that we are dedicating to this work, the work that we as Bet Alef are involved with. We have an amazing committee who is part of the Jewish Coalition for Immigration here in Seattle, in the Northwest, as are we, Bet Alef, members of HIAS, and have been now for many years. So this is our Shabbat, and you'll see that throughout this evening we will thread different threads connecting us to this very important fight that we all need to be a part of. In a moment, I'm going to invite you to come up and light candles for Shabbat. Here in the sanctuary, there at home, we welcome you into our space wherever you are. And we'll invite you also behind the screen to light your candles. So find a couple of candles, 2 is enough, and just get ready. In the meantime, and you can do that at home as well, we are inviting you to give tzedakah, to give charity, to give from the abundance of your life to those who are in greater need than you. And this month, we, as Bet Alef, as an organization, are giving half of our tzedakah this one more month to an organization called Amidah, which is an organization that offers programs and services to families that are looking to adopt, also to those who are looking to be adopted. And it's an organization that is committed to the well-being of both parties, on both sides, to positive outcomes in this sometimes difficult commitment and endeavor. And their work is grounded and centered toward healing of all parties involved in this work. And they are especially working with families and adoptees that are part of the LGBTQ community, looking to bring equity and transformation even in the context of the child welfare system. So that's the organization that we have been sponsoring since January 1st and through the month of March as well. So please make a donation, go to our website and support Amidah. Just as you go to the donate page, scroll down on the little scroll button where it says tzedakah, and we'll know that you are giving to Amidah for this month. And you who are here tonight, the tzedakah box is right in the back of the sanctuary here. Please make your way there as we do this little dance and invite those lighting candles to come forward while we sing on page 14, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
It is a night of improvisation tonight. That's the second theme. And I love when that happens. I hope you had the time to light your candles at home. Here we invite, as always, members of our community every Shabbat to come and light candles and tell us what they are celebrating, honoring, commemorating. And we have materialized a bunch of people tonight behind our table. We're going to start on our right. Diana Rose is lighting a candle tonight to celebrate the next stage in her vocational journey. She is opening her private practice as a mental health counselor and music therapist, and she called it Sound Guidance. Nice. She integrated expressive arts, music therapy, and energy psychology with more mainstream therapeutic approaches. And she already has a website. It's called Sound Guidance, that's in one word, .com. So if you need to be sound guided, this is where you need to go. Next to Diana Rose, we have Stu Heller. And Stu Heller is lighting a candle tonight in honor of the Ukrainian people and their courage and determination in standing up to the despicable invasion by Russian military forces, and to thank all the countries accepting Ukrainian war refugees and banding together to punish Russia for its unforgivable and unprovoked aggression. And I don't know if you know that, but Israel is sending an incredible amount of supply and support to Ukraine right as we speak. It's been an incredible outpouring of support for them from Israel as well. And we have next to Stu, we have Sarah and Ia, and they are also lighting candles tonight for all of the soldiers of Ukraine that have died due to this horrific, unprovoked war. Soldiers and as well as too many civilians already with a really horrific weaponry that is being used by the Russian army. We are praying for the well-being of the Ukrainian community and all Ukrainians everywhere. Next to them is Jackie Williams, and Jackie felt moved to come up tonight and light a candle in honor of her cousin Charles Stroll, who actually started HIAS in Kentucky some decades ago. And she remembers all the hard work and the great, tremendous commitment that was when her cousin did that. And so tonight especially, it's a night to honor her cousin as well. And those of you lighting at home, Ellen and Michael Lyons are lighting a candle in honor of 28 years of marriage today, Friday, and 37 years of togetherness and partnership. Susan Hoffman, she's lighting also a candle in honor of the people of Ukraine, to their spirit and courage, and the light they are bringing to the world in this dark time. Sherry Schmuddy is also lighting her candles tonight in memory of her beloved aunt, Marion Messinger, who passed away on February 22nd. And she's also lighting another candle to celebrate her 77th birthday. That was February 23rd. Mazel tov. The blessing is on page 1. And as always, we are invited to, as we close our eyes and look to bless the light within, we are invited to kindle whatever energies we need to bless this Shabbat. Greater love, greater compassion, energies of peace and wholeness, energies of shalom in our life, in our world, in Eastern Europe, everywhere there is violence. Whatever is there for you, we bless. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. Amen. Thank you. On page 5, we are called to bless. On top of page 5, the Baruch Hu is inviting us to share in words of blessing, to bless all that is. And it's often challenging, especially when we look at the world out there, to stand, even in community, and say, I bless everything. Because it feels to us that this world, as we look at it, is everything but. And the invitation that seems to be coming through our news media is to condemn, is to meet the world maybe with more anger, with more hatred, more closed-heartedness. And so to stand up to say, bless the world, feels a little bit awkward, feels like we can't really stand in that space. It feels that we're not aligned with, in fact, what the impulse within may be. And I'd like to invite us to actually think about it completely differently. Because we can look at what's going on in the world and say, we need tough action, we need to be outraged, we need to be angry, we need to react in forceful ways, we need to, whatever the case may be. And I'm not just talking about what's going on in Ukraine. There is enough evil to go around, to find ourselves triggered. I think what the Baruch Hu is inviting us into is to engage from a different place. When the world presents us with hatred, we meet it with love. When the world presents us with apathy, we meet it with compassionate engagement. In fact, all that is, the mind tells us, horrible in the world is an invitation for us to say, okay, so what is needed? What is the counter energy to that energy? Because if we follow the energies of darkness with more darkness, we're only going to grow that pot. And it's never going to get us anywhere. So I look at the news and I look at the terrible things and I say, what does the world need right now? What do I stand for as a human being, part of the swirling of darkness in this world? What is my contribution? What is my light in this? Am I going to join the swirling, or am I going to stand against it? But not against it violently. Against it like a Tai Chi master, to take those energies and redirect them and bring them back from a different center. So I said the Baruch Hu is in fact inviting us to be revolutionaries. In the face of cursing, we stand and we offer blessing. Please rise. Together we say, Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Bless the Eternal, the one who is blessing. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Blessed is the Eternal, the one who is blessing eternally. On page 6, the words of the Shema. Again, to me, these words are, at some level, a deeply personal stance. Despite the voices of separation, it says that we need to transcend that, because the voices of separation is what seeds conflict, war. The lack of understanding of oneness is what makes me see you as an enemy. It's not taking a political side, but I have deeply appreciated what our president has done this past week in responding to that violence with bringing togetherness, with uniting the world, not with, again, rhetorical violence or anger, but with a message of unification, of being united. And I think that's what the Shema is pushing us to realize. That we are united, that we inter-are. This world is a world of interbeingness. And we need to affirm and live that in our life, in our world, every day. Join me. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Listen, Israel. The eternal manifests as all that is. The eternal is one. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Blessed is the name. The splendor of its presence shines eternally.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael
Please be seated. In our worship, we start with blessing. And then in the liturgy, that continues with words of oneness, affirmation of oneness. And then the third part is opening our heart to loving. And I see all three, especially tonight, all three as part of how we're going to begin to see each other as expressions of oneness, as beings that are filled with what is most sacred, the unfathomable presence of the divine. And when we do that, we won't ever build walls to keep our brothers and sisters, other examples of divine presence, away. We won't build cages to park their children. We won't push them through a never-ending process of legalese that they don't speak the language to be able to even fathom or understand, just so that we can put them in the van and at best drive them back to the other side of the border. We say in Hebrew, Kol Israel Arevim ze beze, but I think we need to transcend the Yisrael part. It means all of Israel is responsible one to the other, but I don't think it's just Israel. Kol Bnei Adam Arevim ze beze, all of humanity, all human beings are responsible, connected, intertwined one with the other. This is the message that our tradition proclaimed 2,000 years ago. It's about time we implement it, don't you think? There is no other. How many Shabbat services, holidays have I come up here and proclaim these crazy words? There is no other. The time is now to open our hearts and to meet the moment and to meet the eyes of those who don't speak like us, don't look like us, don't worship like us, don't love like us, don't whatever like us. And to say, you are me, I am you. There are no separations just in the illusion of our minds. But we want to live from the heart. That's where we want to live from. So join me for the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. The next song we're about to do is not in your prayer book. It is not because it is part of the morning liturgy. Every morning, as we wake up, we say what's called Birchot HaShachar, the blessing of sunrise, which tells you at what time we have to do those. In the winter, it's not a problem, but mid-August, You know how we always joke about how in Judaism there's a blessing for everything? In Judaism, there's a blessing for everything. And the morning blessings, besides starting with the Modeh Ani, the blessing that says that I'm starting this day with gratitude in my heart, follows the next thing we do when we first wake up. I don't know about you, but most of us end up quickly to the bathroom. And there is blessing there as well. Debbie Friedman, the revered Debbie Friedman, made these blessings into a song. I think it's the first time tonight. We're going to sing this song to you. But as clever as Debbie Friedman is, she intertwined as well as part of the blessing that says, really literally says, Holy One of Being, thank you for keeping all the holes of my body that are supposed to be open. And by keeping all the holes of my body that are not supposed to be open, closed. That I might be able to survive today. Because if the opposite happened, this life form could not be sustained. That is the blessing for going to the restroom, believe it or not. It's gorgeous, actually. It's gorgeous. Because we can't take any of our bodily function for granted. Believe me. Believe me. Anyway, David Friedman also intertwined one of the most beautiful morning sayings that says, Adonai, neshama shenatata bi tehorai. Holy One, the neshama, the connected soul, that part of our consciousness that emerges from the nothingness, that you have filled me with a pure soul. The core of who I am is absolutely pure. See, there are traditions that say that we are born in this world in sin, that we are born in this world broken. Judaism affirms every morning as we wake up that who we are, our soul, our very soul, is pure, completely pure. And we say, you, Holy One, breathe into us that soul every time, with every breath. You, Holy One, are the one who keeps it going, keeps it around, keeps it filled, keeps me filled with it, that I might be a channel for expressing that level of consciousness in your world. So those two blessings are intertwined in this gorgeous song, the title of which is Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi Tehorai. The Holy One, the soul you have planted, natatat, you have planted in me. It's like you plant a tree. You know, God had to dig and then planted it because it's deep. Yeah, it's not on the surface. It's deep. You planted it in me. And that soul is pure. I am pure. Go for it.
Shai
We are blessed. We are on page 8 and we rise for the Amidah. And we say before chanting together, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal One, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehillah Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehillah
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah ואלוהי רחל, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה כל התם, רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומסיע אסורים, ומביא מקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. Please be seated. So we are, right now, this week, this Shabbat, we are closing the book of Exodus. This week is the last Torah portion in that book. And we have been at the foot of Mount Sinai now for several Torah portions, as you well know. And the last few, we've engaged in the building of the Tabernacle, the sanctuary that is going to travel with us through what we hope will be, at this point, what we hope will be a very short trip, a very short walk to the Promised Land. I mean, according to all our maps, it should just be a few hours, so we have just a little bit to carry the whole structure with us all the way to the border, and then as we enter the land, it'll be just a short trek. That's what we know at this point. We have also this past week celebrated the completion of the tabernacle with a great party that lasted 8 days, and also celebrated the completion of all of the priestly garb. Right, we created the dress code, the costumes, the garb for all of our priests, from Aaron, the high priest now, and all the tribe of Levite, who will be now ministering to us as part of their God-given task in maintaining and serving in the tabernacle, and obviously later on in the temple. Which is why the next book is the book of Leviticus, because before we can really go on to travel through the wilderness to get to the Promised Land, we really have to define what those Levites are really going to have to do. So the major chunk of the book of Leviticus is dedicated to all the rules and the laws of the priesthood, so that not only do they have the dress, they also have the book of all the rules. If Judaism is what is called ethical monotheism, which it is, it's been defined for many generations as that, ethical monotheism, then one of the quintessential lessons that we gather from the book of Exodus, I mean, a lot happens, granted, in the book of Exodus, but one of the quintessential teachings and lessons from the book of Exodus comes from a verse that we met just a few Torah portions ago. And it says, as we were receiving the utterances, the pronouncements from the divine, not just the 10 Commandments, but there were more in the Torah portion of Mishpatim, one of the commandments, one of the utterances we received was the following: you shall not wrong or oppress the stranger, because you were once strangers in the land of Egypt. That is the quintessential teaching already of the book of Exodus. You shall not wrong the stranger, you shall not wrong or oppress the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. The whole story of Exodus, and we're coming up on Passover, so we'll get to review it again, is this teaching of remembering our estrangedness in a foreign land that we came to as immigrants. Because Egypt, before it turned out to be a place of enslavement, was a promised land when we first came there. If you remember from the story, there was famine and violence in the land from which we came. I mean, look at our story, our foundational story. We're talking about the archetypal story of the life of a people, of an emigrating people. We are the quintessential immigrant story. We are the quintessential immigrant nation. Our founding story, which is the one through the book of Exodus, is a story of emigration and immigration. We come to the land of Egypt as a promised land. There is food there. There is a place for us to park. We can grow our families. We can thrive in that land. We are welcome there. Only a few generations later does the table turn, because it came into power a Pharaoh who knew not where we came from, why we were there, what the deal was with us. And so we were rejected, we were oppressed, we were enslaved, we were turned into a less than people. A people that is only there to do the manual labor, the gardeners, the construction workers. Also a myth, we never built the pyramid, by the way. Those were sacred constructions, sacred containers, and no foreigner, no, those from across the border could ever do that. We did the roads, we did all the institutional buildings. We did those. I mean, can you hear the similarities? I mean, it's not hidden in any way. Our story is that story. And so we are stepping this Shabbat into really putting ourselves again, as we will through Passover, in the dilapidated shoes of those who walk the desert to find freedom. Those who travel just with whatever they could gather in a made-up bag and walk, really, in our case, across continent from Asia to Africa in order to find refuge, to find a better life. And then from Africa back to Asia because they made our lives miserable. Pharaoh and his ice soldiers made our lives miserable. And we are called to remember. We Jews are called to remember that we were strangers in a foreign land ourselves. We know this plight. We know that stories. We are kinship to people all over the world who feel and go through the same plight. And it's not just, it would be easy for me to say, well, it was just, Egypt 3,000 years ago. It's not. I think it would be dangerous for us to ignore that we are still strangers in a strange land. I know we've been here for several generations. I mean, you mostly. I just got here. I just got here. I got here 20 years ago, barely 25 years ago. That's nothing. I just got here from Israel. But before that, I got to Israel from France. I lived in France for 18 years. And it was really by accident that I was born there. Because on my father's side, my father, his siblings, my aunt and uncles, my grandparents, my father's parents, they were born and raised in North Africa. And my family of origin on that side was probably in North Africa for thousands of years. Who knows? We can't keep track. We haven't kept track. But if you look on my mother's side, my grandfather on my mother's side was from Turkey. My grandmother on my mother's side is from Poland. What are the odds that this little guy would be born in the territory of France? Lived there 18 years. And my story is the Jewish people's story. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I lived there 18 years. Does that make me French? I'm asking you. Am I French because of the chances, the history of our people was such that families from Poland, Turkey, and North Africa suddenly came together somehow in the land of France. And for 18 years I was there. Does that make me French? You know, our painfully bestowed nationalities, you know, when we became French or German or British, that didn't happen, you know, overnight. That happened very recently, by the way. Just maybe 100, 200 years ago. Because for the longest time, we were seen as strangers in this foreign land. We were not welcomed. We were not accepted. We were refugees. We were prisoners of countries that didn't want us there. But we didn't have anywhere else to go, because if we had to pack our bags and go somewhere else, we would have gone to another land who didn't want us there. For thousands of years, that has gone on, you know. We've been everywhere. We are Jews. We're Jews. Jews are Latinos. Jews are Ethiopians, North Africans, Iraqis, Syrian. We're brown, we're black, we are Middle Eastern. We came from communities in China, in India, for thousands of years. We are a multicolored traveling people. And we need to remember that. Because those nationalities we have, you know, those passports that we carry, they're only temporary. They've always been temporary. And it would be a great mistake to think that, oh, we are Americans because we've been here for 2, 3, maybe 4 generations. You know, we lived in Spain for 1,000 years. There were Jews in Spain for 1,000 years. There was Jews in Poland for 1,000 years. Do you think those Jews believed themselves they belonged there? Do you think after 1,000 years, 10, 12, 13, 15 generations, they felt like they belonged there? I can tell you they probably did. You know how Spain ended in 1492? Pogroms, massacres, burn at the stake, expulsion. After 1,000 years, it ended in few months. We were gone from Spain. Gone. Talk about ethnic cleansing. You know how it ended in Poland after 1,000 years? You know. Extermination camps and gas chambers. That's how it ended. 1,000 years. How many years have we been here in the United States? Just know we are strangers in strange lands. Let's not be comfortable anywhere. Let's see that those who are trying to come here are not any different than us. They are like my grandparents. My grandparents, just 2 generations. My father, who from the threat of violence and literally threats of death, left wherever they lived, packed the 2 suitcases they had. My grandparents grabbed, my grandfather grabbed his mother as well. And they lived in a little apartment in Marseille, all 6 of them, and started completely a new life. That's the story of the Jews. That's the story of immigrants everywhere. I came here with $2,000 in my pocket. I knew a very nice lady, though. And now we have children together. So that worked out. Yeah, that worked out. That worked out. We are immigrants still. We are them and they are us. And their future, and I'm gonna say that right out loud, their future is bound up with our future. Why? Because Jews historically don't survive in countries where institution and government oppress the strangers and the minorities. Historically, Jews can't survive in those kinds of countries. The life of and the survival of minorities and immigrant population is absolutely, completely bound up with ours. As they go, so will we. We've seen that play out over and over again wherever we've been. And I'm going to end with a quote we also know. Pastor Niemöller, a Protestant pastor, German Protestant pastor. You know, he's the one who said, first they came for the communists. But I wasn't a communist, so I didn't say anything. Then they came for the trade unionist. But I wasn't a trade unionist, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for the Jews. But I was not a Jew, so I didn't say anything. And at last, they came for me. And there was no one left to say anything. Here and now, we can start this terrible, fabulous, amazing poem saying, first, they came for the Latinos. Amen. There's a song. It's on page 23. It's the song that is connected to this week's Torah portion and the injunction that is put upon the high priest about Aaron to look out at every being he meets, every being he encounters. I mentioned that 2 Shabbats ago. And see them as Kodesh Ladonai, holy to God. Only when we will see those we mistakenly, erroneously, illusorily believe are different from us, are other than us, and hold in our consciousness that everyone is Kodesh Ladonai, holy to God. Only then do we have a chance to create a world, to create a civilization that would usher in what we see as messianic times, messianic consciousness of oneness, of wholeness, of unity. Kodesh Ladonai. And as the lights grow dim in the sanctuary, I invite you to find a comfortable sitting position for meditation. Do the same at home or wherever you are finding us tonight. Just for a few moments to be together. In the consciousness of our own holiness, our own sacredness. Just let awareness within you just rest on the breath right now. Just gently observing as the body is breathing in and then breathing out. Just do that. That's all you need to do. And let yourself sink into the moment. Every out-breath, an opportunity to let go, to relax the muscles of your face, to release the tension in the belly, our hands, our feet, to let the shoulders drop down and away from the ears, and to let yourself sink into this place of surrender, into this place of great peace, great calmness. A deep silence within. When we let go of the mind for just a few moments, we touch that pure soul just beneath the surface. The pure soul we are. The pure soul we have always been. The pure soul that animates this being, your being. We can only know our neighbor to be holy if we know ourselves to be holy through and through. You are God manifest. How can you not be holy? The Torah tells us, Kedoshim tihiyu ki kadosh ani. God telling us, you are holy. Know yourself to be holy. Why? Because I am holy. I, the Eternal One, am holy. How can you not be? You are the leaves upon my tree. You are no other than the tree. It doesn't matter which branch. You are, all of you, each and every one of you, an expression of my treeness. The energy that flows through me is the energy that flows through you. You are holy. Don't let the mind tell you otherwise. Don't tell the mind, tell you, well, yes, but look at all the ugly ways I behave. Look at all the dark parts of myself. Yes, they're all there. And yet you are holy. One doesn't preclude the other. One is just the manifestations of oneness when they forget their oneness. and you are that oneness. I am the one, I am, I am. 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 On this Shabbat, as we open the circle of healing, we invite those in our minds, in our hearts, those we know to be in need of healing. We invite all of them in the sacred circle of healing, right here in this space and right between us, wherever you are connecting with, however you are participating. And as you hold in your heart the faces and the names of those you know to be in need of healing, we bless them. Mi sheberach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak veYaakov, mi sheberach imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Leah v'Rachel, hu yevarech v'yirafeh. It's Hillary Wilson, Craig Wilson, David Mark, Susan Austin, Katie Margaret Bank, Lynn Carroll, Eileen Wellens, Alan Walton, Arlene Ross, Janet Lewine, Pam Lesner, Adam Fryer, Michael Hall, Steve Lucas, Elliot Applebaum, Jerry Pettitz, Lawrence Stern, Simon Garcia, Dorinda Regan, Elaine Lees, Janet Crowley, Zoe Chaya Young, Celia Curran, Michael Burkhard, Dagan Diaz-Cryer, Russell Waldy, Salim Matt Grass, Judy Lundquist, Noah Etzioni, Jerry and Ronna Sanderson, Stewie Ehrlich, Denny Oswald, James Mahar, Herb McDonald, Marilyn Coleman, Patrick Green, Trevor Dolan, Edward Musshart, Danita Simon, Shoshana MacDonald, Alan Coleman Germano, and we hold in our heart Those we remember, Yemaleh Rachamim Alehem Lichazikam Urafotam, Refuah Shlema, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf. And we share with all of them, those we've mentioned out loud, those we've mentioned in our being. A healing song on page 33 as the lights come back into the sanctuary. Ana Elna, Refanala. Holy One, please heal all of us. We continue on page 12 and we rise for the Aleinu. Together, we are the ones given this way of praising the Holy One of all being, that we might understand and express the greatness of the One who shapes all creation. We celebrate our uniqueness and that of others, and seek to discover the wonder that we are. Therefore, we bend the knees, we bow, and we proclaim our gratitude before the ruler of all rulers, the Holy One of all being. As it is said, then we shall truly realize the Eternal One as universal being. And on that day, the unity of being shall be celebrated by all. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula leyotzer bereshit, shelo asanu כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. And we continue on page 13 with the Mourner's Kaddish. And as we do so, we hold in our consciousness the faces, the smiles of those who have made their transition from this level of being and whose pure soul continues on its journey back to source. On this Shabbat, we hold in light of memory those who have made their transition in recent days and weeks, holding them in Shiva and Shloshim. Phyllis Levin, Ricky Levin's mother, Marion Meisinger, Sherry Schmodi's aunt. We also hold in light of memory those who have made their transition in the past year. Jerry Todd, Pamela Mary Balch, Emma Norton, John Philip Balch, Virginia Calvo, Millard Petersky, Deborah Batts, Marianne Marika Gordon, Stella Altwies, Mary Rose, Dan Klein, Gloria Funston, Lee Behrman, Yitzhak Leib Ben Aharon Vebele, Norman Lubitsch, Marcia Whelan, Jack Cohen, Jeffrey Hollingsworth, Francesca Tolchin, Jaden Jones, Patrick Henelt, Stephen Skip Wayne, Mike Levin, Jeannie Warner, Willard Harlow, Elizabeth Egan, Gilbert Feldman, Lovey Cohen, Ruth Veldy Cowan, Marshall Hartman, Janet Koloff, Roberta Allor, Samuel Gersonovich, Harry Laufer, Pauline Morris, Daniel Glosser, Michael Spiegel, Chris Werner Mochel, Nan Benson, Donna Mary Harris, Jerry Sutton, Lillian Denker, Mary Gordon, Ted Kuwana, Sylvia Singer, Vicky Bross. On this Shabbat, we also hold light of memory for those whose yahrzeit happens at this time of the year. Alan Balch, Terry Hamilton. And we say together, Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabba, be'alma divera cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yom echon, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום. עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. May the one who creates harmony above make peace for us, for all the household of Israel, and for all the peoples of the world. And let us say, Amen. I'm hoping that at this point, those who are sharing in the abundance of our oneg are going to circle through the sanctuary. In order to do that, we are just about to do the blessing over wine and over bread. So if you at home, wherever you are welcoming us, don't have that handy, you can, if you don't have bread, you can do a piece of a cracker or toast. And if you don't have wine or grape juice, but you have a beer, you can do that with a beer. Or you can do just that with any kind of juice, and it'll count. It'll be fine. I have just a few announcements as this is happening here in the sanctuary. I ask for your attention for just a moment. First of all, tomorrow at 10:30 a.m., I don't know why I have two of those, but I'm going to double fist the whole thing. We have Maimonides, the Guide of the Perplexed. Our study group continues. If you've never been there and never done it, you can join in the middle. You don't have to have been there since the beginning. We find anything and everything entertaining every page of the book we turn. So 10:30 tomorrow, it's on Zoom. Please join us. I just want to mention something because I'm doing something different. So please bear with me for just a moment. I'm doing something different right now with the healing list. The healing list has become very long over the last few months. Thank you. And as you probably noticed this tonight, we halved the list. Maybe you didn't notice because that's how long the original list was. What I have made the decisions to do is that every other Shabbat will say every other name, so that everybody's who has people on the healing list know that their names are held in the space, but we also don't have 4 pages worth of lists, which makes the Shabbat service much longer. So thank you for understanding, and we'll see how it goes. Next Shabbat service in 2 weeks. Which reminds me, this is 2 years to the Shabbat that we stopped meeting in person because of COVID. This first Shabbat in March, 2 years ago, we canceled because of COVID, and that was supposed to be our Purim Shabbat. Our Purim Shabbat is in 2 weeks. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I hope we have the room packed. Masks are still mandated through the end of the month. We're going to look at how the situation goes. But please come. It's what we have in store. It's been 2 years in the making. We've been itching for 2 years to do it, and we are ready to unleash it upon you. So we're going to have a really great time. Just want to have a good time. Gonna have a ball. It's like one of those songs. Don't stop me now. Don't stop me now. We also have a fun Shabbat on April 1st. Our Shabbat, the first Shabbat in April is April 1st. We couldn't, pass it up. So we'll have an April Fool's Shabbat. We'll make a lot of fun of ourselves. We call it topsy-turvy Shabbat. It's going to be completely upside down. So the next 2 Shabbats should be a ton of fun. Okay, everybody's ready. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים. ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. L'chaim. Hold your piece of challah high and proud. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam המוציא לחם מן הארץ. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. We'll close our Shabbat together with Salam Od Yavo on page 28. May there be peace in the world. May there be peace in Europe.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu Ve'al Kulam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu Ve'al Kulam. Salam Shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam, salam Aleinu Ve'al Kulam. Salam Shalom. Salam, salam Aleinu Ve'al Kulam. Salam Shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam.
Shabbat Shalom.